Join Gator great Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition. We're back in action
Yeah.
in 2026. It is PodUp with Matthews in the morning, coming to you from the International Diamond Center studios, locations across the state of Florida, right there in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Go check them out, International Diamond Center. We have JC today. We'll also have Mike Morgan. He was on the Texas A&M call. They beat LSU. Gators losing basketball at Missouri. A lot to talk about with football. We got a great week lined up, starting on Thursday night in college, all the way till Monday night with the NFL playoffs. Let's go to the Titan and More hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. It's Corn Dog, who, were you at the Everbank field yesterday, JC?
No, I was in Montgomery, Alabama at a wrestling tournament, but I will be at the Everbank on Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock for Josh Allen and his Bills to invade Jacksonville. It'll be a sellout crowd. The Buffalo Mafia will be rolling around in Duval County. It's going to be a wonderful weekend for the Jacksonville folks. And I think this is a team that they actually believe in that could maybe do something in the postseason now that the games count for good. And, Buffalo, I think they're doing. They can be had. I think they can be had. So we'll see what happens. But, if Josh is ever going to do it, he's running out of time, and he better get on with it.
He's running out of time. Dude, he's not even 30 years old, is he?
I know. But, I mean, don't you think that as each year goes by, he gets, just a little bit older at that position with the way he plays? I think he's great. I think he's the best player in the league. But I think Jacksonville is a team that has certainly improved themselves, not just with the coaching, but with all the acquisitions they made at the trade deadline. And defensively, they are getting it done. So we'll see. This is going to be a great weekend for the game. All these playoff games are going to be fantastic. We've got Thursday night with the Ole Miss Rebels, Mississippi. We got Friday night with the Indiana Hoosiers. Those are my two winners, Mississippi and Indiana for the national.
The Ole Miss is going to be Miami, huh?
I'm telling you. Well, I think because of the quarterback, QB, I think he's just different than Marcel Reed. He's better. He's more accurate as a passer, and I think he's more mobile than Julian Sand. I think that gives him a chance against that Miami defense. It gives them a chance. And even though Miami's going to score plenty of points, I think with him behind center and with Kejuan Lacey and those receivers, they can get some things done. If you can score on Georgia, you can score on Miami. That's just the simple way I want to look at it. And I think Mississippi and Indiana, think about this, a national championship game between Mississippi and Indiana. Indiana, I mean, that is crazy. So I think it'll be great.
That would be great. Andy on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, says, Shane, did you see that Riley Leonard threw his first NFL touchdown ball to his dad? Do you have your first passing and running TD balls? I do. They're in a box somewhere. Yeah. I need to find them. My first NFL touchdown pass, JC, do you have any idea who I threw it to and what team I threw it against?
Well, I'm going to say you threw it against the Detroit Lions, but I have no idea.
I actually threw it in the old sombrero against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I can't remember if we were winning or losing, but they put me in. This was in my – what year was this?
Third year?
In my third year maybe or second year. And I had one drive. We went about 80 yards, threw a touchdown to Bobby Ingram. Played at Penn State. And that was my first passing touchdown in the National Football League.
Oh, what great trivia that is! I saw you do. I did see you throw a touchdown in an exhibition game against the Redskins.
Those don't count
with Brady. And
the last, JC, another tidbit. My last pass as a Florida Gator in my college career went for a touchdown, and my last throw ever in the National Football League went for a touchdown.
How about that?
How about that?
That's the way to finish.
Speaking of Riley Leonard. He played pretty good, but something happened in that game that has never happened, and I've never seen it in my entire life. Did you see it, JC? And the Colts did? So the Colts were playing the Texans. They ran a fake punt,
Oh,
first
yeah.
down. The punt team lined up immediately and ran another fake punt, but there was a penalty on Houston because they had too many men on the field. They didn't know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody do that.
Well, I mean,
That is great. I think you're going to see more coaches do that now.
good coaching. Well, Riley had a good game. He did. He really did. He's going to fight Daniel Jones for that job next year. We'll see if Daniel Jones comes back from that Achilles tendon. It's too bad what happened to the Colts. They really jumped out of the gate. Jones was lighting it up, but they collapsed when he got hurt. Again, the house of horrors for Indianapolis is in Jacksonville, and that's when their season changed and they went down the tubes. But last night I watched Pittsburgh and Baltimore play for the division, and watching those kickers try to navigate that wind was just brutal. And you can say, well, I feel terrible for the Baltimore kicker, but how about the Baltimore quarterback who slipped on a double move that allowed the Steeler to be wide open at the end of the game? Or how about the Steelers kicker who missed an extra point? I mean, he's one of the greatest kickers of all time, Chris Boswell, and the wind just pulled his ball.
I thought he got blocked.
No, he had a extra point there with about a minute or so to go to give him a 3-point lead. The ball went dead right after he hit it, and it hit the upright. And so they were then up by 2. Baltimore then takes the kickoff 50 yards. Looks like they're going to win. And then his kick goes dead right in the opposite direction and misses everything. So it's tough, man. These conditions can really impact and affect the result of a game. And we're going to have playoffs in cold weather atmospheres. So it's,
He did get blocked, JC.
You're going to have no. The extra point for Boswell hit the upright.
These people are telling me it got blocked.
I watched it.
Okay. It said on because I went to bed at half and I looked at the
hit the upright
stat line. It said it was a blocked extra point.
Hit the upright. It hit the upright at the end of the game.
All right.
I am positive.
Justin says he was at the Gator Bowl when I threw that touchdown to Harrison Houston in the Fog Bowl. I don't know how he caught it because it came out of fog, went through fog on the deep post and came back, and he caught it. But anyway.
Who could forget the Fog Bowl? That was, wow.
Yeah. Art says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, any chance Kirby takes the Falcons job? I wouldn't think so. I think Kirby loves what he does.
No, he's a college football coach, man. And he's one of the highest, if not the highest paid in the business. He coaches Georgia. Why in the hell would he want to get involved in the Arthur Blank and the Falcons?
The only thing is he wouldn't have to deal with recruiting. He could just coach football. That's the beauty about the National Football League. As a coach, you do nothing but coach ball.
Well, Georgia sells itself, so it's not like he's got to convince people how great the place is. I think anybody understands that. They always get players there. I guess anything can happen, but why would you deal with it? I don't know. Maybe you would want to, but I think you're right. I think he's a college guy.
Josh from Wamama on the Titan Mar text line says, who is our most important position to get in the portal besides quarterback, in your opinion? Offensive lineman. We need linemen.
Yeah. Can't do anything without those guys. I mean, I'm optimistic, very optimistic about what's happening and what he's going to be able to do. But I didn't hear of anything out of the portal since it opened and I don't really.
We got a guy, safety from Baylor.
Okay.
I don't worry about it. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing that our fans can do about it. Let the coaches go do their work and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, they'll get who they get.
You can sit there and complain all you want, but there's not a damn thing you can do. I mean, it's true.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hopeful enthusiasm.
Did you see the quarterback Indiana got, JC?
I did not.
They got the kid from TCU.
Well, I mean that now
He's a good player.
It's become right, the one who sat out of the bowl game. Yes.
Yeah, I forgot his name, but
that's too.
Here's what Indiana's going to do at the quarterback position every year. They're just going to get an old guy. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah. Well, it's become a destination location, evidently. I don't know. Indiana. My God.
His name's Shivers.
That
guy's name.
Yeah.
Josh Hoover. Thanks, Andy.
Way to go, Andy. Thank you, sir. Did you watch the basketball game the other night?
I watched some of it. I was flipping that and football.
So it's Thomas Hawk Day, and I think this league is just going to cannibalize itself. These teams are so closely matched. If you look at the scores from the first weekend and the first game, now all of a sudden the Georgia Bulldogs can score points. And tomorrow night you're going to watch this Jeremiah Wilkinson roll in here. He had 31 against Auburn the other night. They won by 4 in overtime, scored 104 points.
You know they're the highest scoring team in America?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. They're 13-1, Georgia. And then you've got, how about Mississippi State going to Texas and winning a game? And then you have, Oklahoma did their thing at home. Alabama did their thing against Kentucky at home. Arkansas did their thing. I think they're going to be outstanding. I think Tennessee's going to be very good. Vanderbilt is a real deal. This is another great league. It's just going to knock each other around, and we're going to have probably 6 or 7 teams go to the tournament. I would think.
Yeah, I mean it's week 1, so there's a lot
It's
of
very early, but there's a lot of parity. I think we're going to see. Chris Harry will tell you. I think he would be correct in saying there's going to be a lot of parity in this league, and you can't get too upset or too excited because it's going to be a tough league to win. I think.
Yeah. Greg says on Facebook Live, the QB is so good we don't know who he is. Well, Greg, I have had many suspicions, my friend. Josh Hoover is a damn good quarterback. I will tell you that.
He is quite a good quarterback. I mean, he sat out of the bowl game, and all of a sudden they want him at Indiana to replace the Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, let me ask you this: if he's not a really good quarterback, you think Kirk Cignetti's calling him? So, right. I mean, this guy has such momentum at Indiana. It's hard for me to see them losing to the Oregon Ducks. And I mean, they could, but I've got them winning. I've got Mississippi winning. We're going to have one of the greatest finals between two schools that have never sniffed anything. And this is
that's not true if you go back to the 60s, JC.
Well,
the Rebels did back in the 60s. Okay,
that's right.
Franklin, I'll let you answer this on YouTube. Brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Would Cignetti go to Bama if the job opened up?
No, I think there's something to be said for comfort. There's something to be said. Now, Lane Kiffin didn't want it at Mississippi.
No, I tried to tell you all that.
Yeah, but I think comfort. Well, maybe he wanted it, but he just couldn't pass the deal that he was getting. But it's ironic, he would rather coach LSU than coach Mississippi to a championship. That's strange. But I think the answer is no. I don't. I think the Bama job is so different than the Indiana job, and he's 64. He's 65 years old. He's going to retire into the sunset as the savior and the hero. He's Indiana's Bear Bryant. Imagine if they win the national title. I mean, that you call that a basketball school? You watched Notre Dame.
They ain't been worth a damn in basketball since I was in like high school.
They suck. Exactly. And if they win a natty before Notre Dame does in Indiana, I think it's great. So I don't know.
Silent J said on YouTube, JC, thanks for the free money. I'm taking Oregon versus Miami.
Go for it. Go for it. Hey, all right. That's the market. I mean, I see these as being really good teams, and they're playing the best football of their season. Now, I wasn't overwhelmed with Oregon against Texas Tech, but man, that Texas Tech defense is as good as there gets. But I think Indiana is very good too. So I mean, I got to pick somebody, right? So I'm gonna take the two that I hope wins.
Electronics World Integration and Design Specialist for Smart Home Automation and Entertainment. Let Electronics World bring the Florida Gators basketball and the NFL to your living room. Check them out, electronicsworld.com. JC, I got home from golf yesterday, watched a little NFL, and it happened to be it was miserable playing yesterday, but I somehow shot a really good score.
Battle through
the misting, cold, windy weather.
The elements, bro. It's January. You got.
But I was watching the LA Chargers and the Broncos.
Yeah.
To this day, and you hear me talk about it on this program all the time. Mm-hmm. And I have so much respect for Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, who is the general manager or whatever his title is with the 49ers. How in the hell did they think Trey Lance could ever play?
Unbelievable.
In the National Football League, and drafted him
first
3 picks.
He was third
years ago. That dude is so bad. I cannot believe it, how bad he is.
Well, he was third with the Cowboys. Think about that. I mean, they brought
Yeah.
him in, and he didn't even sniff the field. Yeah, it is odd. It is odd. Sometimes you know what these guys just miss, and it's just human nature to not always be right. So they are two of the best in the business. You got to tell you. I mean, the job they've done this year with the injuries and everything, and keeping Brock Purdy safe. But San Francisco really blew an opportunity against Seattle, who's
Seattle's damn good, man.
I think that's the best team. You know, teams that end up playing Seattle play differently the week after. It's a physical, nasty game against that team. You could see it with what happened to the Rams against Atlanta. You can see it with what happened to the 49ers yesterday after the 49ers losing to Seattle are going to have a hard time in Philadelphia. They're going to have a very hard time. And I was thinking, yeah, maybe I'll take San Francisco in that game, but I don't think you go against Philly at home. So, man, the Seahawks are they don't care where they play, who they play. Right now, I think
their defense is so good, and I didn't know a whole lot about Mike McDonald, their coach. This is year 2 for him.
Yeah.
Do you know where he went to college, JC?
I didn't know who this guy was.
He's a Georgia Bulldog.
How about that?
He went to Georgia. He became a graduate assistant when Mark Richt was there. I think he left for some small jobs, came back for a analyst job, I think maybe a year or two with Kirby, then got in with the Ravens. But
well,
boy, he knows what he's doing defensively, man.
Well, and they're just, they're winners. They were down 16 points to the Rams in the fourth quarter and came back and won the game. So, they're going to be a tough out in that place. I don't know who can beat them, but I do think that the NFC is slightly a tad better than the AFC. But I also think we've got really exciting games coming up. I mean, when the Green Bay Packers are the 7th seed in the NFC and they've got as good a defense as they have, and if Jordan Love is just a little bit healthy, he can do crazy things in the playoffs. It's going to be fun to watch, man. I can't wait for the wild card weekend, divisional playoffs the following week. It's going to be great.
Reggie says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, did you see Sorsby is getting $5 million from Texas Tech?
I guess.
I knew he'd get the most money coming out of the portal.
Yeah, I mean, God bless him. $5 million for Cincinnati quarterback. I tell you, it's a good thing for Texas Tech because that poor kid may have played one of the worst football games I've ever seen in my life, other than the Tulane guy that played in the Gasparilla Bowl a year ago.
No, that guy was by far the worst quarterback I've ever seen.
Yeah, awful. But man, poor Morton.
Baron Morton he just did not look right. I don't know what was going on.
Something's wrong with him, man. Throwing the ball where he was throwing it, just making mistake after mistake. It was the worst performance you could have expected. And I feel bad for Texas Tech because their defense is legit. That's a good team. But
MSRK says on YouTube, drafting QBs is a crapshoot. Look at all the QBs that were total bust. Look, some are not going to work out, but I can tell you right now, before they even get drafted, if they're going to make it in the next level, because it's a different ball game, man.
Mm-hmm.
JC, I want to see if you've been paying attention for the last 5 years. What is the biggest key to be able to play quarterback in the National Football League?
The biggest key.
It's a simple. What is the main thing a quarterback does?
He throws the football.
Okay. If you cannot throw the ball accurately and anticipate and throw it in small windows, you have zero chance to play in that league.
Zero chance. And you would think these guys that scout these quarterbacks,
it's freaking unbelievable.
That's can sense it. They can see it or they don't see it. It's really kind of obvious. You throw it in the windows, like you said, you anticipate, you have to be accurate, you have to have good feet, good fundamentals. All of these things are part of it. And you have to have balance. I mean, what Chambliss can do on the run is unique.
He's got great. I mean, he ain't going to play in the NFL, but he's got great feet. He's got a great release. He's just a little too little, too small, too short. But you never know. We'll see.
Well,
let's get to This Day in Sports, brought to you by Castaway Hot Sauce. Hot sauce with real flavor, not just heat.
Wow.
Built by Gators for Gators, Castaway Hot Sauce is available at Publix. Go get you some, JC.
All right. Castaway it is.
All right, This Day in Sports. You'll like this one. In 2021,
yeah.
You know who won the Heisman Trophy Award?
I probably do, but right now I can't think about it.
Yeah, it's an Alabama wide receiver.
Devontae Smith. God, the great one. And he just single-handedly dominated everybody with Mac Jones, who really did a great job for San Francisco. All he needed was a coach rather, that knew how to take care of him instead of that idiot Belichick. Kyle Shanahan took care of Mac Jones. He called plays that Mac Jones is good.
Mac Jones he's good because he can throw the football.
Yes, he's excellent.
You got to remember, there's only 32 spots. There's going to be a lot of quarterbacks that are on the bench that are accurate and can throw the football. But there's some that are on those damn rosters that I'm just like,
what
are y'all thinking?
Yeah, it's crazy. I guess you have to fill a spot. I don't know. You're right. That's crazy. What are you thinking? Trey Lance is that guy. There's plenty others, but all it took was Kyle Shanahan, and now Mac Jones is a legit option at that position when Brock Purdy is hurt, which quite often happens. I think they'll keep Mac Jones on that roster. So he did a good job. That team was banged up badly. They almost got the 1 seed, but they ran into a bulldozer, and Seattle is defensively the best team in football right now. Doesn't mean they're going to win it all, but I think right now Seattle's the team you do not want to deal with if you had your choice. Philadelphia is the other physical team that I think has a chance to win it. And then in the AFC, I think Jacksonville is as live as anybody. And I'm not sure if they're the 1 seed, but I think you can take them. And New England, all they do is win, and they got the MVP right now. It's between him and Stafford, QB.
I tell you what's amazing I watched some of New England yesterday, and I've always loved Drake May.
Yeah.
You know who, and I think they're the same age. I think this is year 2 for that running back from Ohio State, Henderson.
Yeah, Travion Henderson is fantastic. He's fantastic. Ridiculous. So Vrabel knew exactly what he wanted. Comes in there. Mayo won 4 games last year. Vrabel lost 4 games this year. It's just amazing what coaching do.
Yeah, I don't know how Gerard Mayo was ever.
That was
coach. I don't know how he could be coaching a high school team. All right, Daryl says on Titan our text line, he thinks Jacksonville can make some noise in the playoffs. Florida's loss to Missouri isn't that bad considering it's early in the SEC play, long ways to go.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. We lost a lot of games.
100%.
Teams are going to lose 10 games. I know we're not shooting the ball great, and I know people are upset with the backcourt. There ain't nothing you can do about it.
That's your go-to statement right there.
Well, JC, can you tell me what you can do about Nate Oates or what you could do about Todd Golden and their basketball program?
I can choose not to watch it. That's
right.
One thing I could do.
You don't have to watch it if you don't want.
I don't have to watch it. But
oh yeah, Toby says Travion's a rookie. That's right. Him and Judkins in the backfield last year.
They got Stevenson and Henderson back there. Vrabel brings defensive pressure, and they got a quarterback that knows exactly what he's doing. New England is gonna. I probably would say if it ain't Jacksonville, it's gonna be New England. That's what I would say in the AFC.
To win the AFC?
Yeah. New England's a 2 seed. That means they've got 2 home games. If they win the first one, they'll play the second one at home. And Denver is the 1 seed, and I think Denver can be had. Now, Denver's very good defensively. Bo Nix pulls games out, but they don't score a lot. They just haven't in the last month. So I don't know.
They're limited offensively.
I think there's some areas you can get them at. In the NFC, to me, the 2 best teams are Seattle and Philadelphia. So to me, those are the most physical teams. That's what's going to win in the playoffs. It's going to be a great NFC playoff bracket. It's going to be hard to win, but the Bears, the Bears never die. You never count the Bears out. They've got more wins in the last minute than any team in the world. I think the Bears are legit. They're going to be the 2 seed. They're going to play the Packers. It's going to be a tough game. They always have problems with the Packers. So the playoffs are here, thank God. And everybody, we got to get back into our work routine. The holidays are over. It's going to be hard, but here we are, January the 5th, man. A lot of big things happening. So.
All right, Art says or asks on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, do you think the Dolphins try and trade up for a QB or do they tank for Arch? Trevor Lawrence is as good as anyone right now. So the Dolphins, I think Quinn Ewers, he played pretty decent while he played, right?
Yes, he did. Played better than Tua.
Are they firing their coach?
Nobody can tell what Stephen Ross is
I can tell you right now, Arch Manning's going to be a first-round draft pick next year. He'll be a top 5 pick.
Well, then the Dolphins will likely have a top 5 pick. Yes, they're going to be picking high. I believe they're not.
No. I'm talking about the following year. Arch ain't coming out, I don't think.
They'll lose next year. No, Arch is playing another year at Texas. He is absolutely playing another year at Texas. That's already been established. So he will be back at Texas.
He had a really good year, man. He didn't play great the first 3 or 4 games, but
he got better. He definitely got better. I mean, he struggled in some games, but then again, they didn't really do a whole lot to protect the poor kid. I mean, he was getting bum rushed, as I heard over the weekend, by everybody. Their offensive line. You saw their offensive line QB here in Gainesville.
It was terrible, but it got better.
It definitely got better. But yeah, I mean, they punished Texas A&M. That was the best game they played all year. So. And how about Texas A&M? They go ahead, they're undefeated, they're ranked as high as 2, and then they absolutely hit a flat. Their tires go flat in the last 2 games, and nobody hears about it, and nobody's even talking about. So, the season is long. It's who gets hot at the end of the year, who gets the lucky breaks, who stays healthy injury-wise, and here's what we got. We got Indiana, we got Miami, the Oregon Ducks, and Mississippi. So. Go Rebs. I'll root for Mississippi. QB, you got to be on top of the world, man. You're 2 games away from a natty in Austin.
My mom and dad would be so happy.
Oh, God.
They wouldn't know what to do.
The whole state's thrilled.
Yeah. All right. So, come on. Reggie wants to know on Facebook, brought to you by Mellon Law. Shane, how long do you think UF waits on Ball before moving on to another guy in the portal? Look, I think he's a phenomenal player. I want him back, but you can't overpay for a running back. It's that simple.
I agree. They get hurt. They get hurt the most. Yeah.
Yeah. And people say, well, he hasn't been hurt. Well, you just don't know. I mean, like I said, did anybody watch the 2 running backs Indiana has? I think one's from James Madison, one's from Maryland. And those flat-out jokers are physical,
tough
runners.
Fast, hit the gas.
So there's a million of those guys out there.
You can watch the difference between an Indiana running back and a guy like Jaden Ball, and then those 2 statues they have at Alabama that can't get anywhere. So I think it's important to have a good running game, but you're right, man. They are hit all the time, and that's a big risk if you pay a lot of money for somebody that can be done I guess anybody can be done on any play, but running backs that's why they're the lowest paid in the NFL. All
right, before we get you out of here, JC, Toby asked on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, do you think Jeremiah Smith will stay at Ohio State with his wide receiver coach going to South Florida? Yes.
Well, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Julian Sand is a freshman or something?
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, you go to the guy that gets you the football, and Ohio State's always going to be in the line. The problem with Ohio State is that league is so top heavy that they literally sleepwalk through 10 weeks of the season, and then they get into a pressure situation. I think it's difficult for them. You have to have adversity during the year to be able to maximize your chances in the playoffs or in the postseason when things get rough. And Ohio State just never got tested during the season. Never got tested. And I think it showed. It showed at the end.
Yeah. Text on the Titan Mar text line from George. He says, Shane, if you were to start an NFL franchise and you were the head coach, what quarterback would you start your program with? Wow.
Well, Caleb Williams, if he's got the right coaching staff, is
no. I would probably go Josh Allen.
Okay.
Well, I guess.
Okay, it used to be
I would go Josh Allen because he's healthy right now, right?
Yeah. Well, it used to be.
If not, my top 3 would be in no particular order. Would be Burrow, Mahomes, or Allen.
Yeah.
One of those 3.
That makes absolute sense. Yeah.
I think Joe Burrow is so freaking good, but he's always hurt.
Yeah. You know, a guy that gets absolutely no credit and has had 2 unbelievable seasons, won 27 games, something like that, is Sam Darnold. Jesus.
He's very good.
God,
he is very good.
I mean, Minnesota just let him walk.
Yeah, it was dumb because they drafted JJ McCarthy. I don't know why. Another guy.
he can't stay healthy either.
Yeah, he ain't real good. All right, JC, we're
All
going to
right,
go
well,
talk some hoops and some other college football with Mike Morgan. Have a
all
great
right,
day.
Morgan. All right.
That's JC. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Quick timeout. We'll come back, talk some SEC hoops with Mike Morgan from the SEC Network. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Atlantic Roofing, Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, J.F. Hayden's Craft Liqueurs, Los Landeros Tequila, Meldon Law, Titan MRI and Imaging, Castaway Sauce, UF Health Orthopedics. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sports, Comfort Temp, Florida Cracker Oyster, Electronics World, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, McDonald's of Gainesville, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Advocare, MG&A Wealth. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And to advertise, call my man Freddie, 352-284-3733.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
What's up, everyone? I'm Mike Pouncey, and this is my twin brother Marquise Pouncey, and this is Life After Football. Let's go. We are the owners of Tropical Distillery, and J.F. Hayden's is our liqueur brand. We have 5 different flavors: a mango, a lychee, an espresso, citrus, and key lime pie. We pride ourselves on not only being a Florida-made brand, but also a cocktail solution. With that being said, cheers and go Gators.
Coach, you know what always impressed me? How you beat Florida State to win the 1996 National Championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave Los Landeros Tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean Head Beer Coach 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros Tequila, smooth enough to drink neat, bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros Tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Gallo Car Wash is locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations are Northwest 13th Street, Wilson Road, and coming soon to Jonesville. Back to the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Our man Mike Morgan. Good morning, Mike. How you doing, bud?
Good morning, Shane. Doing well. Hope everybody had a great holiday and Happy New Year to everybody. It doesn't quite compute that this is a work day again, but it is.
Right.
You know, time to get back to business. I feel like everybody's been on pause now, seemingly forever. But back from a road trip to Texas A&M for a basketball game, and then I'm on my way to Auburn later on today.
Real quick, Reggie says on Facebook Live, Saying's a sophomore. He was in Elite 11 with Lagway. Yeah, they're the same age, but Saying redshirted last year at Ohio State, so he's a redshirt freshman this year.
Right.
Mike, let's talk college football playoffs. We got the Final Four left. My goodness, I've been a big Trinidad Chambliss fan all year long, but good gracious, he was amazing. The plays he made.
Yeah. The kid was phenomenal. It's one of those college football. It's like there's so many different chapters in a given regular season. And he was one of those feel good chapters in the first month or two of the season when everybody was learning about Ferris State and how he got the job, and extremely likable young man, great family, great everything. And of course, I think people are just enamored with Ole Miss. You're enamored with Ole Miss for different reasons, Shane, with your background. But I think a lot of people find themselves pulling for Ole Miss because it's a great story and they haven't won anything in forever. So, but people kind of forgot about the Chambliss story. I felt like it just went on pause from like mid-October on, and nobody was really too focused on him. And, they lost the game at Georgia, and it was like, okay, that was cute for a while, but we're not going to hear much about him come playoff time. And he's certainly not going to go on a neutral field and outplay Georgia, which is exactly what the kid did and exactly what Ole Miss did. I'll tell you a quick funny story. The last Saban game I did was for SEC Network, and, you meet with TV as opposed to the games I do on national radio. You got to meet with everybody. It's just painstaking. Meet with Nick Saban for 30 minutes, 23 of which was just ripping into the future of college football. You knew he was about to get out of it, and he did. And then it was 15, 20 minutes with the OC, 15, 20 minutes with the DC. The DC at the time was Pete Golding. And I got into Tuscaloosa on Thursday, and I mean, every talk show, every message board, everything you sometimes look at, just to get kind of a feel and a tone for what's going on. They were ripping Pete Golding to shreds. Pete could not wait to get out of Tuscaloosa because, that year, if you remember, Alabama lost 2 games and by a combined 4 points, and that kept them out of the playoff. This is before we expanded, of course. And Pete Golding was taking the biggest brunt of it. And I'm sitting there like, this guy can coach. Everybody just wants a scapegoat. And Pete Golding was that scapegoat. So fast forward, he takes the job at Ole Miss and is probably just relieved to get out of that, where everything that went wrong for Alabama is his fault. Does a great job at Ole Miss. And then this year, remember, they were supposed to take a major step back defensively because they lost all those dudes like Nolan and a bunch of guys that went on to the NFL. He does a good job. Ole Miss didn't have the best defense in the country, but they were pretty damn good overall. And now he's the interim head coach, and people are like, oh, man, Lane left us in the lurch. The best we could do is Pete Golding, an interim who'd never been a head coach. And now the dude's 2-0 in the college football playoff with maybe the biggest win in the history of the school. I think he's a great story, not just Chambliss. Pete Golding has become a great story in Oxford.
I agree. Looking at those 2 games, who you liking those, Mike?
I said after calling Miami, Florida State, I thought Miami was the most talented team in college football. And, of course, then I thought I was going to have to eat my words because they lay an egg against Louisville. They lose at SMU. But that's what Miami does. That's why Cristobal is always on the hot seat. Carson Beck is a guy that every now and then he just has a game where he completely loses it for your team. But outside of that, he's pretty damn good. And they don't need Carson Beck to throw for 350 to win. They're the best team on the line of scrimmage. I'll stand by that from September till now in January. So I still think Miami is going to be a tough out at this point. I'd love to see Ole Miss's story continue to thrive. But to me, they might have their – I think Chambliss is really going to be tested because I think Miami can wreck a backfield as well as anybody in college football. And then on the other side, I'm not going to bet against Indiana again. I fell into the trap. I listened to the Josh Pates of the world and other people basically talking like this wasn't even going to be close. Alabama was going to, Indiana was about to find out what it's like to play against a true SEC power and whatnot. Indiana smoked them. And I'm not going to fall for that again. I'm picking Indiana in every game they play the rest of the season, and I'm going with the Fighting Cignettis on the other side.
Yeah, I agree. They're legit, man. They're very well coached. The players do what they're supposed to do, and quarterback is outstanding.
He is.
All right, switching gears real quick. Joseph has a question for you on Facebook Live brought to you by Mellon Law. He says, as of right now, Mike, do you see the Gators making the tournament? If so, what seed do you think they'll be?
All right, first part, 100% yes. I know people in Gator country are discouraged. Obviously, you look at the record and you see 5 losses. That game against Missouri, I saw most of it. And I hate to be the guy, because I hate when other people do this, where you just focus on one little stat as if that's the reason that determined the entire basketball game. But again, if Florida does not improve three-point shooting, I think they were 26%. It's been a theme. Clearly they missed some of the guards from last year, but they didn't play a bad game against Missouri, and that's not a bad loss. It's on the road against a Missouri team that very well could be in the tournament this year. I think the SEC, that's the other thing. People compare the SEC to last year and they say, oh, well, it's not last year. Well, yeah, no kidding. Nothing's ever been that good. 14 out of 16 teams made the field last year. They won 89% of their non-conference games. That's not going to happen again in our lifetime. But I still think the SEC, which is number 1 in net ranking, will have about 9-10 teams in the NCAA tournament. And I would be shocked if Florida is not one of those. What seed they're going to be? Way too early. I mean, they're not going to be a 1 or a 2 or a 3 at this point. It might be a 7, but that's okay as long as you're playing your best basketball. We haven't seen Florida's best basketball. I'm convinced of it. I don't think that they're going to be shooting as poorly as they have been the rest of the year. Now, I could be proven wrong. We might have this conversation a month from now, Shane, and they're still shooting 29% from 3 or whatever it is. And that's not going to be good enough to make a run in the tournament. It's just simply not. Even if you do everything else well, and this team does do most of everything else well, but you've got to be better shooting the basketball from behind the arc.
Yeah, it's I think we are who we are right now. I mean, we've played a bunch of basketball games and we still can't knock down threes like we've seen in the past. So maybe got to make some adjustments and find other ways to score, but you got to shoot the 3 in today's game to have a chance. But I'm with you. They'll make the tournament, and who cares what seed they are? Just get in the tournament. That's all that matters. John on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, Mike, what do you think about Georgia, our next opponent?
I tell you, it's like Mike White went into a phone booth or a pod machine, and they rewired him and changed him into a new philosophy coach, because what they're doing is not typical Mike White basketball.
Well, that's what he did at La Tech, though.
Well, he did it some there, Shane, but I mean, he never led the nation in scoring at La Tech.
True.
But you're right. I mean, they were more offensive minded, and then at Florida, the knock on Mike was the offense. It was never the defense or the defensive intensity or the focus on defense. It was always, hey, can we get this offense into the 21st century? Well, he has done that and then some in Athens this year, and he's got the personnel to do it too. I mean, he's got the right combination of players. And I think Mike White looked at it and said, you know what? I'm not going to play games in the 60s this year. We're going to try to win games in the 90s. The SEC is the number 1 scoring conference in the country. It's the number 1 pace of play conference in the country. So if you're still trying to grind it out and play Wisconsin Big Ten basketball, it's really hard to win. It's also really hard to recruit to that style of ball. He's got some athletes this year that can go up and down. And that's what they do. And that's how they beat Auburn in a thrilling game, by the way. That was right before we went on the air with A&M LSU. And I tip my cap to Mike. You know, I love coaches that are able to adjust and not just dig in and say, no, this is my style and I'm not changing it for anybody. He changed it and they've changed it. Now, do I think they're one of the best teams in the league? No. I heard you and JC talking earlier. I mean, for my money, the top two teams, and this is going to sound counterintuitive because I realize Vanderbilt's undefeated and I love their coach. I love what they're doing. But the top two teams in this league, for my money, are Alabama and Arkansas. And then I think it goes to tier 2. And that's where you see Vanderbilt. That's where you see Georgia. That's where maybe you see in Auburn, Florida, and some of the others. But I think there are no more talented and complete teams right now than Alabama and Arkansas.
Tim says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, Clayton Jr. spoiled us. Well, again,
yes.
He's the best basketball player in Florida history in my lifetime. That's like saying, you know, that's like losing Tebow and Danny Werfel, right? You just don't replace those guys. So now don't send me Vernon Maxwell and all that. I know Vernon was great. I'm talking about
you're opening up a can. Shane, you just opened up a can.
I said in my lifetime, right? That's different. I'm talking about since I became a Gator, I should say, not lifetime.
Right. Because you and I were both alive for Vernon Maxwell.
Yeah, I know Vernon was outstanding, but I go back to when I became a Gator, who I think was the best I ever saw, and that was Clayton Jr. As I've said, Werfel, Tebow were the best, but Percy Harvin was the best I ever saw wearing a Gator uniform.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah. So, can I help amend your report? Not that you're asking, but if you're going to make that argument, here's what I would say. Walter Clayton had the best season of any Gator in school history. I would definitely, you know, the year before Walter Clayton was a good player. He wasn't outstanding. He was good, but he was nothing to like write home about. But his last year, he was friggin' phenomenal, and you don't win a natty without him. And I certainly think you can make the case, not just on statistics alone, but every clutch play that he made throughout the regular season and the postseason. I think you could certainly make the case he had the best season of any player in the history of Gator basketball.
True. Well said. Andy's question on Facebook Law, back to the National Football League for you, brought to you by Mel. He says, Mike, who do you think will be the best NFL QB among the remaining college playoff QBs?
That's what I love about your show. Your audience comes up with some great questions. Look, I had Dante Moore earlier in the year, and he might be a higher draft pick than Mendoza, believe it or not. He's got such a fluid throwing motion. I could see why scouts love him, but for the next 3 games we're going to watch, I'm not going to go against Mendoza, just like I'm not going to go against Indiana. I love Chambliss. I'm okay with Beck, although there's going to be a moment, I guarantee you, where he just makes an awful play. I just said Dante Moore is incredibly skilled, but in terms of who do I want right now leading my team, I'm not going to go against Mendoza. The kid has been clutch all year long. He's a proven leader. He is gifted. He runs better than people think, Shane. If you watch that, if you go back and you watch that game, every time there was a running lane, he doesn't run just for the sake of running. Like, he doesn't panic like so many running quarterbacks do. Oh no, my first read isn't open. I got to tuck it and run. He doesn't do that. He waits for the play to break down, and then if he sees 8 yards, he's going to run and get you 8 yards. It's not going to be fancy. It's not going to be explosive, but he'll take what the defense gives him. So he's not a statue in the pocket either. I'll take Mendoza.
Yeah, I would list them, those 4 quarterbacks from a NFL career. Have those. Mendoza, clearly. I would go Chambliss too, and I'd put Moore and Beck down there. You know, I think Chambliss is going to be like a 5th or 6th round draft pick, and I think he's going to be on a team. He could be a Russell Wilson type guy. I think he's a better player than Russell Wilson. That's hard to. I mean, I'm going back to the college days, not what Russell Wilson did as
right.
But I think Chambliss could be that guy. Dante Moore, I think he's one of these 5-star, great at combines. He's in a good system. I'm not sure how great he is or how he'll pan out at the next level. And I'm not sure about Carson Beck. But the other two, I think, will have a chance. So that's just
one thing we do know.
Report for today.
No, I like it. I certainly respect it. One thing I do know, that as you and I rattle off these 4 names, I mean, they're all good college quarterbacks, right? Like it's really hard to get to the Final Four in college football if you don't have the guy. Now, you got to have talent around you. We know this, but like I keep going back to at the beginning of the year when everybody was like, "Oh, best quarterbacks in the SEC." Lenora Sellers was first team All SEC. Lagway was right up there. Nussmeier was right up there, and they were all disappointing. And meanwhile, these are the guys that led the way in college football, and they're continuing to do so.
Yeah. All right. Skipper says, speaking of Harvin, does he ever make the Ring of Honor? As of now, Skip, no. Due to the way it is calculated, he doesn't meet the criteria. Until that changes, he needs to be in it, though. But there's other people that need to go in it before him. Lomas Brown is one.
Lomas Brown is not in the Ring of Honor?
No. Neither is the
How is that?
The Cuban Comet. Because you have to be a National Player of the Year, a Heisman winner, or in the NFL Hall of Fame, which is so dumb. If you're in the College Football Hall of Fame, you would think you'd go in your damn Ring of Honor.
Of course. That needs to be fixed.
Yes, it's really dumb the way it's set up.
That needs to be. And Percy Harvin, I'm right there with you. I can't think of many better players that I saw in a Gator uniform than Percy Harvin. Basically, I remember doing one of his games, and my favorite stat of all was every time he touches the ball, he averages 10 yards. Like there's just very few players that have ever done that. He runs it, he catches it, it's 10 yards. It's a first down. That was Percy Harvin.
Yeah. Carlos Alvarez and Lomas Brown should be the next two to go in because they're both in the College Football Hall of Fame. Okay.
Right.
What else do you need to do?
I agree. I was unaware that those guys. I was unaware those were the stipulations, Shane.
Yeah, it's crazy. But if you're in the NFL Hall of Fame, you get in. Your NFL career.
Well, wait a minute. Are you in it?
No, I'm not. I have no way of getting in it. But the bottom line is nobody cares what you do in the NFL. We're talking about what you did wearing an orange and blue uniform. And if you're in the College Football Hall of Fame, you obviously were a pretty damn good college football player. Your ass should be in the Ring of Honor.
Well, 100%. And I'm not trying to make you feel uncomfortable here, but how are you, a 2-time SEC Player of the Year, a guy that led the Gators to the first SEC championship? How are you not in it?
Well, I don't qualify. However, there's only like 6 people that have won the SEC Player of the Year twice in the history of the league.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I'm not worried about me. I just think these guys.
I am. I know you're not worried about you. I'm saying, and I'm not just saying this because you and I know one another. I mean, again, this is all news to me. I haven't kept up with the Ring of Honor, but how are you not having Shane Matthews in the Ring of Honor? That makes simply no sense to me. But we can move on. This is all. You're hitting me over the head with a pile of bricks I didn't expect because these to me would be no-brainers.
All right, last thing before we get you out of here, Kevin on the Titan Bar text line wants to know your thoughts of Philo. He is committed to the Gators out of the portal from Georgia Tech. Probably haven't seen him a lot. I've watched some tape on him. I like him a lot.
Yeah, and I know Georgia Tech. I mean, again, living in Atlanta, they might file a police report because Florida just stole away not only the OC, the quarterback, some other assistant coaches, but maybe the bright future that was Georgia Tech football, particularly on the offensive side. Because, I mean, Georgia Tech seemed to have figured it out. Now, Haynes King was 90% of that, and they were going to lose him anyway. But then you take away their coaches, and then now the guy who they thought would be the future Haynes King in Philo. So obviously I haven't seen them play. You know, I didn't go back and break down high school tape, but I know they were extremely high on that young man, as were some other programs that wanted him in recruiting. So certainly it's a great addition.
Yeah. Mike, good stuff as always. Have a good call on your games this week, and we'll talk to you next week, my man.
Okay, Shane. Appreciate it. Happy New Year.
Yep, that's Mike Morgan. Join us on the Titan Moore Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. For sprains, strains, and minor fractures, UF Health OrthoCare makes it convenient for you 7 days a week, including evenings, and walk-ins are welcome. Go check them out, UF Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine. That's going to do it for today. Appreciate everybody chiming in. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Take care.